Hello everyone, welcome back to another Age of Empires 4 commentary. I am Beyond and thank you so much for all the support in the past couple of videos and the channel as a whole. I truly do appreciate it. Today we're going to have something a little bit different for you all. Today we have a English build order guide. This is going to be the fast castle build order. So you're going to start off by going 2, 2, and 2, kind of like the beastie build order. You're going to rally out your villager and create a mill and a farm on the back end side of it. This mill is going to be eventually used to build that early wheelbarrow, which is a pretty classic and pretty standard in that old beastie build. Today we're going to be observing Rob the Viking. I actually asked him in his Twitch chat today if I could actually use this replay specifically to show off this and showcase this build. He said sure, so I'm going to send him a DM just so he can see it. And if you want, he's on Twitch all the time, so go check him out. He's a great streamer. Would highly recommend it. Very informative and very funny. So his link will be in the description below. Now you're going to be rallying all these villagers to food. I also, if I'm blabbering on, I'm also going to be leaving this up here for you as well, so you can see all the exact timings of each one. But moving 5 to food, and you're going to be starting your wheelbarrow the second you get that 50 and 50. We're going to be now starting to rally them all onto food again. You're going to get up to about 8. And once you get to 8, you're going to start to move them over onto gold. This way you can constantly produce villagers, and then on top of that, you're going to be starting to get into your feudal age. But it's going to be a delayed feudal age, but it's going to be an insane castle age timing. You're going to be hitting castle age around that 730 to 810 mark, in that range, depending on exactly what nuances and how much harass you get going on in your build order. You're going to keep these two, bang down all these straggler trees. So remember, when you're doing this farm, make sure you try to not take out any straggler trees if you possibly can, and also put them on the first straggler tree, whatever side you're going to use for your farm. Just to min-max it a little bit. We're going to be waiting for that wheelbarrow. As you can see, we've rallied now 8 over here. And now we're going to start to send it to gold. Now, as we wait for these three villagers to get over to gold, if you do enjoy this type of content, which is more build order focused, I'm going to try to do as best I possibly can. I'm not the best at it, but I'll try my best when I see a cool build to do a breakdown just like this. If you do enjoy this, please do leave a like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And we're almost at 500. I think we're about 19 away. So I'm trying to get to that as soon as possible. Now, as you can see, Wheelbarrow is going to ding pretty soon, and English early on with Wheelbarrow is so good. The reason why we're starting to build these farms is that the English have that boost for gathering from mills. So this is very advantageous, especially with the Wheelbarrow. These villagers get that 15% movement speed boost, and you can really tell. So up to 5 over here, and now we're going to be rallying back onto food. And this is where it gets a little bit wonky. And then once you see that Abbey, we're going to send one villager over. Once you have enough to build the Abbey the Kings, one villager is going to go over and drop down the Abbey the Kings. This king is going to give you some early map control, and from there it's going to make it so you don't also get all in really quickly. So as you can see, we have enough for the Abbey. We're going to bring one villager over, drop it down, and we're going to bring I believe 4 from over here to go get a little bit of stone in 1 minute. We're bringing 2 more over here to start collecting some wood. We're going to go up to 4 on wood and 7 on food. So we're doing this so we can get some precautionary tails like an outpost over here, and we make sure we don't get housed. I would recommend using one of these guys to just drop a house right next to it, like Rob did over here. Excellent job. And I'm waiting for these guys over here. There they go. The 4 take from food and bring them over to get some stone. That way you can build arrow slits if you need it, right? If you're looking at it, you're gonna get a lot of early aggression. It's always good to get those early arrow slits. It's just a precautionary tale, especially into civilizations like the French, like the Rus. You're gonna be under a lot of fire, especially from those early knights. So it's always good to have a little bit of upgrades in that tower over there. And with the king helping out and able to block any charges from those knights, you'll be in a good position. Now we're moving all back onto food. Food is the most important thing besides gold in this build. You're in no rush to get that feudal age, so just keep on going. You're going to get 10 on food. And then you're going to start to bring even more onto food. You're going to start to get up to critical mass, as you can see. Here's the straggler tree. We're going to be going up to, I believe, 150, and then we're going to be moving back. That way we can instantly drop a stable once we get into that castle age. So these, as you can see, this straggler tree is going to be getting all completed, and then boom, stable should it does have just enough for the stable. Move them all to food. If your opponent, this is I believe in like high diamond, they will definitely recognize something's going on, but platinum and below, they're going to be absolutely bamboozled. And with this arrow slit, just in case that you have going on over here, you will be very safe from any. And the reason why you keep 5 over here is also so that in case anything happens, everyone can fit into this outpost. No man left behind, no villager left behind, so you should be in a good spot there. And as you can see, 1 on Abbey of the Kings, up to 17 on food. And then we're going to be moving up. And once we ding up here, we're going to be moving up to that King's Palace. This way, you have map control with the stable and your king. You're going to move into knights, which are going to be so good. And then the King's Palace is going to be such a good unit because you're going to get essentially a free TC with your age up, which makes the English so good in this build. As you can see, the Roost player over up top has built a second TC. So this quick King's Palace is going to make that essentially non-existent, and you're gonna be bang on even, and you're gonna be an entire age above. So if they don't do any harassing, you're gonna be in a really good spot. So we're still rallying on food. It's super important with this build to get as many sheep as you possibly can. And there we go. There's the age up, and we can see we almost have just enough food over here to age up to the next place. Rob puts it over here, which I really like it. If the spot isn't as perfect, just make sure you defend a few resources with it. That way it gives more timing for your villagers to get in there safe and sound, because you're not going to have any units until you get into that castle age. So as you can see, there goes the King's Palace. We're dropping that stable right there. And that stable is going to be able to start producing knights the second this King Palace goes up. As you can see, we have 10 villagers on the King's Palace. We're leaving 7 back on food, and we're leaving still some on gold. Rob is now pulling just when he gets enough for that king and that first knight, which is 100 gold. He pulls them over to move over to the King's Palace, get it up even quicker. That way you can get it up right at that like 8-10 mark. So it's important to get that 100 gold over here for that knight. So the second you ding up into Castle Age, you can start to produce that knight almost instantly. And he's going to pull all these back. A lot of them are going to move to gold, and there's a lot of them are going to move to wood, so you can start to build out that infrastructure. Another huge thing that this build does is that it gets you into Castle Age so fast, and you're going to want to get down after that stable so you can start to produce that knight. You're going to want to produce a monastery. A monastery is going to be incredibly useful for you, especially on maps like Dry Arabia, where you're going to be able to secure these early relics out on the map, and then your king and these knights that you're going to be producing are going to get you that map control you need to actually get your scholars and monks and prelates. Sorry, I believe they're monks. I always mess up the exact name, but I believe English are monks. They can get them out into the middle of the map and secure that early relic, which is going to mean essentially it's like a savings account. The earlier you get it in there, the more dividends you're going to be getting out, and it's just going to be an absolutely incredible investment. You're going to start to overwhelm your opponent with the sheer value of your army. Knights are so hard to mass because they're so expensive in terms of gold and food, but with the Abbey of the Kings, you're going to be able to save a lot of your knights because you're going to be able to heal up, as you can see over here. And then on top of that, you're also going to need a lot more food. Once you start getting these relics in, you're going to have a lot of floating gold, so you're going to make sure you're going to start to produce a good amount of food. Now, as you notice, Rob canceled one of the monastery over here and placed it over here. I was watching this live. His rationale was that he didn't want them to see as quick as you normally would. So if it's out of sight, out of mind, so he might be able to sneak a relic or two before they even realize what's happening. And then TD is definitely going to be start to save for that castle age, because when you see someone tick castle, you're not going to see any immediate aggression, but you're already behind, especially with the English, because they get that second TC. Normally, in a situation kind of like the HRE, something like that, you wouldn't have to deal with a second TC that early on. But now with King's Palace, you do actually do that. and a little bit of harass here. You're going to be able to start harassing a ton. These are Castle Age Knights. Remember that. If you're facing against the French or the Rus like we are here, your Knights are going to be so much more powerful than theirs will be. So as you can see, we have a lot of food coming in because they're going to be Castle Age, and those are Feudal Age Knights. So you're going to be able to do a lot of damage. TD is going to be making a quick transition into that Castle Age. Not a bad Castle Age timing, going to be around that 11-minute mark. But Rob already has 2 Castle Age Knights on the field, and 1 Relic is already on its way home. And that is under the 11-minute mark, and we've already secured a Relic as the English. Already have 2 TCs, have infrastructure of stables, and already have a farm transition fully underway. That's how insane this build is, and if left unchecked, remember to keep building houses so you don't get housed. It's never the best feeling, but it happens to me all the time. I'll definitely be trying out this build. It's really, really fun to do. And if you do love knights and you love harassing, this build is the one for you. You're going to have to harass a little bit. As you can see, TD still does have that villager lead. So you're going to want to utilize these really beefy Castle Age Knights. As you can see, 4, and 230. And this is a Feudal Age Knight, 190 and 3. So you can really do a lot of damage. And there we go. Rob's turning in onto these villagers and you're going to be doing a lot of damage. Now, normally you couldn't just dive a Kremlin like this. But with these Castle Age Knights, now it's so good. One unfortunately canceled miss swing there by the king. Only gets 4 really quick. And look at these knights are going to start to heal up. It's like you're the baby French. It's unreal. And you're going to have a lot of gold. So you start to get a lot of these upgrades. After this, we're going to be seeing that blacksmith go down. And the second relic is almost already in the monastery. You're probably going to have to build a second monastery in most games, especially in Platinum and below, because there's no way they're going to be already getting those relics. And now you're going to be going up to get this next one. Get all the faraway ones first, or you can also get this back one just to fill up this relic over here, which looks like Rob is doing. We can see an engage coming down over here from Rob, and as I mentioned before, these are Castle Age Knights. These are not. And even when they ding Castle Age, you still have about 30 seconds, 40 seconds before that upgrade even comes in, if they're like patiently waiting on the trigger to get it. So you still have plenty of time to do lots and lots of damage. And if you're facing a civ like the Rus, like the Chinese, like the French, any civ that needs to go out on the map to get more and more food, they're not going to do an early farm transition. Start to scout all these places over here. All the outside deer packs, the berries, with your very powerful knights. You can do a lot of damage. As you can see, Rob already has 9 knights on the field. He has a passive income of 150, and another relic is on its already way in tow. Another monastery is going up to secure this relic up top, and the only one that's going to be tough to get is behind over here, this deer pack. And look at, as you can see, a lot of them are on gold because just the English are so good at producing food, especially with their farms and with Wheelbarrow. And yeah, it's just going to be absolutely crazy. Look, as you can see, 13 knights are on the field. Even if they start to get spears, even if they start to get crossbows, these knights also have a king in tow that allows them to heal up, and you can retreat them back to the Abbey of the Kings. So you can actually get even more healing if you really need it. But the more harass you can do, the better. As you can see, Rob is diving in on these Castle Age Knights, and it doesn't matter in the slightest. We don't see any upgrades just yet, but the first one will be on the way. Bloomery is a good upgrade, that melee attack +1, and then obviously Iron Undermesh is super, super important to start diving these TCs. Rob is able to locate this outside food source, as I mentioned before, and look at how much damage he does right there. Has a 10 villager lead. 12 villagers have already been killed, and has complete map control. This is going to be death by 1,000 cuts, and honestly, the scary part is for the Rus player is that even this over here, this is a raiding party over here, and this raiding party over here can probably tango with their main army because they're really, really powerful knights, and they can do a lot of damage. When I saw that live, Rob was like, "Oh, I have to move back," and then he realized it was only the one knight, so he was like, "I can actually take this for sure." And even if they get these veteran spearmen, you know how slow veteran spearmen are? Rob was able to find a few more already, and it's just going to be continue on and continue doing as much damage as humanly possible. has a battalion back here, and more knights will be on the way. Look at how much is floating already. Could even go Imperial if he really so choose, if he really wanted to go up. But you can just see he's going to be getting more knights out of this massive production. Up to 4 stables can be produced off of this build with this many relics. Gets a 4th relic right there. And just continue to produce a lot of food and get those gold mines. You should be totally okay, because at this point in the game, you should only need the 1 additional gold vein at this point with the relics helping out. So you should be in a good spot. If you find yourself running out of food, make sure you do that. Here's the split up right now, 20, 24, and 21. So this is how you produce maximum amount of knights as maximum as possible. Unfortunately for TDTD over here, it's going to be really rough because there's not enough spots and hangout spaces for these villagers. It's going to be an absolute barbecue. We have 20 villagers dead, going to be now 21. And we still have so many knights just roaming around the map. They're everywhere. We have knights over here. We have knights over here. And they're all super strong with upgrades. +1 attack. Going to be +1 defense coming in as well. And you can always retreat them back and get even more healing, which is the really scary part. And there's just so much map control for this type of play. It's if you ever played someone that's really good with the French, this is the exact same type of situation, but only these are Castle Age, so they're even beefier, and they heal like they're the French, which is absolutely crazy. And now we have 21 knights in the field. There's only 1 over here for TDTD. They could run straight into these spears and it wouldn't matter. And look at how much healing is being done. It's only a few here and there, but that knight goes from being able to take 1 spear hit to 2 spear hits, from 3 spear hits to 4, and that makes a huge difference in these fights. They're getting so much value. 22 villagers have already been killed. The English are also incredible at turtling, so it makes it even easier to pull off and have this very mobile unit. You can also start to go away from knights if you don't want to use knights. You can go into crossbowmen, mangonels. You have the goal to do anything you want. Look at this income over here. Whatever your heart desires, you have the income to do. And as I mentioned before, Rob doesn't mind at all engaging onto whatever he sees in front of him, because it's always going to be a quick cleanup. And poor TDTD got absolutely done by this strategy. Now, they also mentioned that he's tried this multiple times and saw it on the ladder from a few other people. So it's not exactly his exact strategy. But he's been using it and with great success. And when I saw it, I asked if I could use this replay, and he said yes. So here we are. There's my first ever guide, build order guide. It's probably not going to be as pretty as some of the other ones, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please do subscribe, leave a like, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night.